Hi, family. How's everybody doing? This is my second attempt to try to make a video to come to try to help you guys to understand a little bit and give you some comfort during this time of what is going on. So, yeah, it's getting a bit dicey, isn't it? Um, and the reason why it's dark is because I don't have a lot of lights on because it's hot here in Arizona. Like we've already been baking out here. So, anyways, so a lot of people have been contacting me, and people are upset and coming out of their skin, which I can understand that because the things that are happening right now are literally unprecedented. Okay, and I get that this movement that started out there on the West Coast is spreading. And there's all this unrest and things that are going on, and you know, people are really in their raw emotion right now, and I could understand that. But as offspring of the Most High, we we are called to go into intercession when we see things like this. I mean, there's been other videos that the Father has had me to make that where he was last year, even, or the year before, maybe, telling us to not give in to our innate human emotion. Remember that? To try to train us to become non reactive. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't care. That doesn't mean that we don't hurt for people, on and so forth. It's just that we need to handle it a little bit differently. This whole thing to me smacks of a big ritual. And the reason I say that is because during conjuring and summoning, there is repetition and rhyming, chanting, okay? And there's a rhythm to it. So if you remember and recall during any footage that you might have seen of what's going on, there's this repetitive chanting, this repetitive rhyming, and that kind of thing. So this is what brings me here today, because this really smacks of just a big ritual to me, to drum up all this negative uh, opposite of peace feelings. There's hate, there's rebellion, there's all these things that are being shown. So during this with the other camp, this is how they do, because it makes like a power. And remember, we talked about this with regard to people participating in certain holidays. Okay, it's all relative. So I encourage you to go back and watch some of the other videos that talks about that, perhaps. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. So, as we know, that in the book of Samuel, Samuel says that sin, or excuse me, good grief, rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. Okay, so you're seeing all this rebellion, it's witchcraft. For us to get caught up and get upset and yell and scream and carry on and get angry and fearful and give in to spirits of anxiety, discord, all this is us getting caught up into it. Okay, We don't need to be getting caught up into their spell, their ritual. Okay? A lot of us have been kept up all night prior to this. And I'm the first one to say I've been guilty of complaining about it because I didn't understand that the conditioning was occurring to get me used to being up at those hours for prayer, for intercession, because they like to do things at night a lot. Okay? Like Yeshua said, men love darkness because their deeds are evil. So, also, I had asked the Ruach for something to be able to give an answer because I've got people calling me, coming out of their skin, wanting to yell and scream at me when I try to be a voice of reason and encouragement to them. They get upset with me and people are starting to yell at me and all that, which I understand. It's just, part of where they're at right now. And it's hard to not get caught up in the emotion of this, um, but we mustn't get caught up in the emotion of it, because remember what I've said, what the emotion is, it's the soul. So we get caught up in the soul, we're not in the spirit. Okay? And so we don't need to give in to that, and where the mind will race and try to think and process all this and whatever. Just shut that down. Get into the mind of Yeshua, because the heart and the mind of Yeshua is going to be where he guides us through these things. And you guys, this also, when I had got information from the Ruach, he sent me to Ezekiel 12. Now, on the surface understanding, I had one sister tell me that she thought, oh, it's time to pack up and run. No, it's not. We still need to occupy where we're at. Okay, there's no place to run to right now. If Father wants to relocate people, he will make sure and give them precise instruction on that. But the Ezekiel 12 focuses on the rebellion of Israel and the prophetic motions that Father instructed Ezekiel to make there, because it's kind of like an acting out of what is to come. And so he did that, and Israel was eventually allowed to go into captivity. The reason I'm bringing this up is because, if you guys remember, I've had dreams of being attacked on our own soil. Okay? Our enemies, if the whole country's in an uproar, okay, our enemies, they will use that. They will monopolize on that. But also, the other part of this statement that I'm making is that, if you guys remember this time last year, Father gave us the 4 severe judgments upon you message. This passage, part of this passage, was in that word. And when people are rebellious, Father will allow that captivity to happen. But the one clue to me that really stood out was where he says, and I will draw out a sword after them. And at the last few verses of Ezekiel chapter 12, he's saying that this is happening because people are rebellious and they have forgotten the Father. They went off into doing whatever they want to do. And when we do that, it puts us at odds with Father, because rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. If we are in rebellion, we're practicing witchcraft, which puts us absolutely as an enemy of the Father. Okay, we don't want to do that, you guys. So my encouragement to you is to remember where we're at in the age, as well as remembering how Father will deal with things. You guys, these things that are happening, Father definitely has his eye on them. Okay? None of this is happening without him taking a notice of it. But this is just a little small drop in the bucket compared to what is coming. And people are coming unhinged with this right now. Okay? And Father's offspring, you guys, we need to step into peace and love. And remember that no matter what's going on around us, the Father has us covered. Okay? And irregardless of how things go, this is all written. We're and we're getting, it's like things are happening one after the other after the other after the other, or like a grouping of things happening, bam 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 bam. Okay, the book of Revelation talks about these things. And and I want you guys to be encouraged and understand that the more of this we see, the closer we are to Yeshua coming. Okay, be encouraged and find some joy in that. Don't get caught up in the icky feelings that work death in us. Okay, don't look at the natural, just focusing on the natural. Understand the spiritual of what's happening, because you guys are all speaking spirits, right? We're born of Father, so we're not like the rest. Okay, and stay close to Abba, stay prayed up. Don't give in to the adversary wanting to get us into seclusion, because if that happens, then it makes us ineffective, right? And some people are wanting to bury their heads in the sand right now and not watch what's going on, but Abba said watch. We have to watch whether we want to or not, so that we can understand, so that we don't get blindsided by that enemy camp. Okay, pray, intercede. If you don't know what else to do, sit down and pray for others. Okay, this is us being the salt and the light that we're supposed to, you know, that we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to pray for others during this time. You know, um, these times are pretty violent right now. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to ask Father to put his peace in people's hearts. And remember, even when people are acting out and acting insane, they still need redemption. Okay, they're still precious, just like you and I are precious. Okay, and we just need to remember that we are loved. Okay, we're Father's children. We are loved. We are going to be provided for. We are going to be protected. And if something happens where one of us should lose our life or something like that, well, you're going to end up with Father. you know um so let's not get into the dread and the doom of everything. Let's understand that what is happening, it is supposed to happen. And I think that Father actually is exposing the rebellion and exposing underhandedness, even in governments and all that. Okay, where people will usurp and overstep, and that's their own rebellion, right? So, rebellion seems to be the theme of the day, and Abba is bringing that up to the surface so that he can show us what's there. Okay, we don't need to react to it. All right. And we need to search our own hearts too. Okay, where am I rebellious? We can't get into this, oh, well, everybody's rebellious right now, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't make it okay. Okay, we need to work on that within ourselves, but also pray for others to learn to yield over to the Father, and that Father's will be done, and that His glory will manifest. Okay? Um, you know, because that is the only answer. Okay? So be encouraged. You guys, we're seeing the unfolding of things at the end of the age. Okay? Let's not react to it. Let's just dig our heels into Father, run to the shepherd, and speak with Father to get clarity. Okay? Because, and I've got people getting a hold of me too. Oh, the deep state this, the secret societies that, the Illuminati this, the blah, 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 blah. Okay, CERN this, CERN that. It's all happening, but it has no bearing on what our Father is doing. Okay? And that is where we should be looking to the shepherd. It doesn't mean to ignore, we're told to watch. We're told to watch. We are told to observe the times and watch for the signs. Okay? So, watch we must. But we also need to stand our ground and be on post when it comes to doing the will of the Father. And when we see things that we don't understand, instead of, getting upset and blah, 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 blah with our words and adding to, okay, because, we're told to watch our words, we need to go to the Father and speak to the Father. Help me understand. I don't like what's happening. Will you show me what's happening, Father? Show me where your hand is in all this. Okay? Father, I'm feeling fearful. Please help me to get rid of the spirit of fear that's trying to consume me. These kind of things, go to him. He knows what we're feeling. He knows we're there. We can't be too prideful. Oh, well, I've got myself under control. When we're freaking out, we're not under control, okay? None of us. And that would even be me too, right? When this first started, I started feeling that upset, okay? But then I had to be like, wait a minute, let's look and see what's actually going on here. And then the Ruach started reminding me, didn't I tell you to not be reactive? Didn't I, all these things. And then so last night, when I asked him, and I had my Bible in my hand, I asked him because I wanted him to show me something in the scripture to explain what's happening. For the reason of being able to give an answer and a guidance to the rest of my brothers and sisters when they come, because within myself I had no answer. I was just like, well, I'm just waiting to see what Father points out. But I do know that even during that time, and I didn't have an answer, I knew that I needed to pray, to intercede, because people were getting hurt. Law enforcement was getting hurt. Citizens were getting hurt. Okay, things were happening to them. And destruction of property and all these things. So, that's where my focus went to, was trying to intercede so that people wouldn't be injured. Okay, we still, even when people are acting nuts, we still have to care for their well-being. We're supposed to. Yeshua gives us instructions. So anyways, you guys, be at peace. Understand that this is just part of things. But do be aware that I really believe that this is one big ritual, okay? And that we haven't seen the maximum of it yet. I really don't believe that we have. So we need to get into intercession, run to the shepherd, and stay close to him, okay? All right, that's all I have for you guys today. I love you. I know it's been a while, but you guys, I really haven't had much to say. I really haven't. Father's been rather silent these days. I mean, speaking in spurts, but also just not as loud as he has been. So, anyways, you guys, if you seek him for dialogue, he'll talk to you, okay? But just understand that that's just how things are right now, okay? But stay close to him, stay in your scripture, stay prayed up, okay? So anyways, I love you guys very very much, and you guys are my siblings, okay? We're family together, and you guys don't get caught up into the provocations of this ritual, okay? All right, I love you guys with all my heart. Abba bless you and keep you. And may he hold you close, nestled next to his heart, okay? All right, till next time. Bye bye.